Welcome to this channel, Young Pilgrims. I'm Sebastian, and today we're going to continue with the study of the festivities given by our Heavenly Father. This time, we will analyze the Feast of Matzot, an appointment that goes very hand in hand with the view in the previous video, Pesach. This festivity, Matzot, is found in the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 15 to 20. In which it's related to us as an ordinance given to Moses along with instructions of the Pesach festivity and the covering, so as not to be cut off from the people of Israel, both physically and spiritually. We can read in Exodus 12:15, 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the first day you shall remove leaven out of your houses. For if anyone eats that is leavened, from this first day until the seventh day, that person should be cut off from Israel. We can also find it in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, from the verse 6 to the 8, where we can see it as a commandment from the people of Israel as a memorial feast about their process of leaving Egypt. And we can read this. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread to the Lord. For 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the first day you shall have a Holy Convocation. You should not do any ordinary work, but you shall present a food offering to the Lord for 7 days. On the seventh day is a Holy Convocation. Holy Convocation. You should not do any ordinary work. And well, we already know about this existence with this part of the Bible. Now, in order to understand this festivity, we have to start from its central element, which is what is the matzah. Matzah, as we have studied in the last video, is the unleavened bread. It's unleavened bread, sorry. In instruction for this festivity, we see that the Eternal commands to eat bread without yeast for 7 days. And now we wonder, why unleavened bread? Something that was not common from the Hebrews during their time in Egypt. Why this element? And well, first of all, we can see that it was because of an event in the history of the people of Israel. As we studied in the Pesach festivity, after the last pledge sent to Egypt, the Israelites will leave this nation being free from the slavery. For this, they have to prepare, as we already studied, with their sandals on and ready to go, so they wouldn't waste time waiting for the bread that they have prepared for the Pesach supper to rise. For this reason, historically, the people of Israel ate unleavened bread on both the Passover or Pesach and Matzot festivity. On the other hand, we find that there is a reason for learning. The Eternal commands for 7 days to eat unleavened bread and to cleanse their house of any leaven. With these two instructions, the Eternal sought, on one hand, that the Hebrew people made an analysis on how the passions and desires of the flesh are like leaven that inflates the being like bread, showing a falsehood of what it really is, and that is delays, even stops the process of liberation from slavery of Egypt that represent the world and sin. He also sought to teach how it is important to clean the house that represent their lives from anything that could make them fall into the error of living their being. That is why the central element is unleavened bread. Also, another important element that we see with the commandment, both in Exodus and Leviticus, is the Holy Convocation. This festivity lasts from 7 days, and the Eternal commands that the first day as well as the last should be a Holy Convocation. But what is a Holy Convocation? Well, the Holy Convocation is a time that is separate from the daily task, a time where the members of the people of Israel and those who were added ceased, consecrated, and blessed that day. In future videos, we will understand this concept. So don't worry. For now, don't worry. For now, we will generalize that it was a day of rest where they consecrated themselves, reflecting on the Father's instruction, and did good. And well, during this festivity, there were then 2 days like this in which people of Israel gathered. So, in summary of these festivities, first, the eternal commands for 7 days to cleanse the living, passions and sin, from the body symbolized with the unleavened bread and their houses. Second, he commands that the first and the last day will be consecrated, setting it aside and reflecting in congregation. Obviously not like the churches nowadays, that they have more living than anything. Continue. Now we'll understand what is the application of this festivity in our lives, because we could think that it's a commandment only for the people of Israel, but like the Pesach festivity, it is an instruction for anyone who seeks to fulfill the purpose of the Father, and believes in His Son Yeshua. On one hand, we see that yes, a reminder of the people of Israel lived together at that time, along with the teaching, but that teaching is something that applies in our life as well, since living in our life without passion and sin is a part of our way back to the Creator. This is why it is important to remember and celebrate this festivity, because it is in practice where one learns, and practice arises from following the teaching. On the other hand, we also find a prophetic mystery in this festivity. We find the life of the Messiah reflected in this, a life that lived without yeast, being the perfect korban, the offering, and that just had its highest point to demonstrate it there at that moment in his life, since he was delivered as a Pesach sacrifice until he ascends to the heaven places, showing a life without passions or sin, coordinatedly just on the days that the Israelites celebrate the week of Matzot, fulfilling the prophetic about this festivity. Fulfilling the prophecy about this festivity. That is why I invite you to follow the example of Yeshua and live an unleavened life, beginning with obedience in instruction, which includes the reminder and application of this festivity, understanding it also with the example of Yeshua. So well, thank you very much for watching this video. Remember to leave your comments, your questions, and also to give a like to the video, as we see you in the next video. So blessings.